What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're doing something a little bit different. This is something that I haven't done, but, you know, a lot of people think tier lists are divisive. You have one group of people which just love watching them, you have another group of people that think that they're pointless, and while there are definitely merits to both parties, I think that this type of tier list is something that everyone can do, because this is purely subjective, up to your own opinion. So I'll leave a link to this tier list down below in the description. I'll probably leave it in the comments as well. But this is going to be a tier list ranking each individual game mode in One Piece Treasure Cruise. Now, of course, these can range from a differing amount of factors, right? In terms of ranking them, right? It could be in terms of the rewards that you receive, in terms of, you know, the characters that are boosted for the event. It could be, you know, how often they occur, how long they occur. It could be a wide range of factors giving you the ultimate decision in where you rank each of these game modes. So let's just go ahead and start this off. We've got the main story. Now, I think the main story is like the lowest tier possible. This is terrible. No one likes the main story. Look, some people may like it, I guess, but it hasn't been updated in several years, and considering how it's gone, I don't expect the main story to be updated. They did a little bit of a overhaul of it a few years back where they introduced the challenge difficulty quest at the end of each story mode, but then they stopped doing that as well. They just kind of left this to rot. Essentially, if you haven't done it yet, just run through the main story. It's very, very easy, and you can get a lot of gems just for doing so. The story mode is terrible. Now we have Kizuna Clash. Right next to it is the super boss version of the Kizuna. So regular Kizuna, I'd probably rank it like a tier 3 or a tier 2. Normal Kizuna just isn't that fun. It's just, you know, the rewards aren't very good, and while super boss isn't that much better, super boss does have a lot more going for it in terms of the gameplay aspect. Typically boosted lists for Kizuna are fair, and typically, you know, you don't really need boosted units in order to clear the content, like Treasure Map, for example, because they give cooldowns to all those certain classes, and you don't have to worry about using point boosters. Of course, there's only a couple of units that are ticket boosters, and they're the recent rare recruits that come out specifically for this game mode, but you don't even need them in order to get to the final box, which is a good thing. So honestly, I think regular Kizuna is kind of like a mid-tier kind of game mode. Super Boss Kizuna is my #1 favorite game mode in Treasure Cruise. The rewards are slightly better, but the gameplay aspect and the community aspect of Super Boss Kizuna is awesome. People competing to see how much damage they can do to these bosses is just wicked. You know, if one small change is just updating and overhauling the boxes, right? That would be a huge change if we're able to get better rewards from these Kizuna boxes for all of these tickets that we are acquiring. Especially in normal Kizuna, you're basically only farming it for the Super Evolution Skull, and that's it. At least Super Boss Kizuna has a free-to-play character attached to it that super evolves, and typically Super Boss Kizuna free-to-play characters are actually really nice to have. So I do like that about that, and I think Super Boss Kizuna is my favorite. Next, we have just Pirate Rumble. Now, this will kind of include Super Pirate Rumble as well. I think generic Pirate Rumble is actually pretty fun. I'd probably give it like a tier 1. I think it's a lot of fun to do. The bad thing about the Pirate Rumble, though, is you only get 3 runs per day, and if you want to run even more, you have to use your Rainbow Gems. So those are pretty inherent flaws with the entire game mode, and the rewards are pretty bad from Rumble as well, but it's the gameplay aspect for it for me. And while there is kind of a lack of gameplay, I guess some people would argue, because you let the game run itself, I like the team building aspect of Pirate Rumble. It's vastly different from any other game mode that we have in Treasure Cruise, I guess aside from Grand Party, right? But ultimately, I really like what they tried to do here with Pirate Rumble, and I do enjoy playing it every single day, but I think introducing more aspects to it, better rewards, and also allowing us to play against our friends on our friends list would be awesome. Would love to do that, as it would enable the community to have some really fun kind of ideas, right? We wanted to host like our own tournaments in Pirate Rumble, but we haven't been able to do that because there's no way to challenge our friends yet. So if there was a way for that to happen, that would be really, really awesome. Next, though, is Grand Party, and I don't think it's much of a surprise. Grand Party is probably the worst, I think. I mean, the rewards are actually really good, so I think you have to put it above maybe main story, and it is Pirate Rumble, and I do like Pirate Rumble myself, but the Grand Party aspect of it, it is one of the most stressful game modes in Treasure Cruise history, to be honest, because every single match is like your last, right? If you don't win it, you just lose so many rewards. Of course, the first 2 or 3 days are not really that bad. The final 2 days, though, are incredibly stressful, and sometimes you can do everything perfectly and still lose, and that's just how Grand Party goes sometimes. Of course, with the reduction of the low power strat, it means that you kind of have to resort to what the best or most consistent team is, and at this current point in time, it's Roger lead with the Roger squad, whether it be Psy, Slashes, and Dex, or any combination of those types, or you can run a quick team, or depending on what's boosted during the season of Grand Party. The rewards are actually pretty good for the amount of effort that you have to put into it, I will say, but the fact that they gatekeep all of those gems behind 15 wins is the bad thing. I think all of the gems should be acquirable after 12 wins, and then, you know, obviously if you get to 15, you get the title, and then maybe additional bounty. It should just be bounty and maybe level limit break posters for the final 3 wins if you're able to get it, but locking all the gems behind 15 is a terrible idea. Next we have Grand Voyage. Now, I think Grand Voyage needs to be in the game. I think it's actually not a terrible idea to have. There are a couple of things that need to be fixed though. The rewards are a big thing, because for the amount of investment that you have to put into your characters in order to achieve beating these certain pieces of content, the rewards you get back are just not equal at all. And the fact that we are now, what, up to 9, I think, is it 9 or 10 different Grand Voyages, and there's only 1 Super Tandem tablet that's been acquirable. That is a big issue. I think that, you know, every 3 or 4, at least, Grand Voyages need to give us a Super Tandem tablet. So that is very alarming, and that's probably one of the biggest downsides I have in terms of Grand Voyage. And also the lack of releases of Grand Voyage too. I mean, they only come out like 1 to every 2 to 3 months. That needs to speed up. I would love for it to come out once a month, and while yes, not everyone is going to be able to complete these on release, I think that having them in the game available so that it gives you something to work towards, I think that would be a great thing, especially for the endgame players like myself that are able to beat these typically on release. I would love to see more of these come out. Next we get to some other game modes here. So we've got the clashes, and look, clashes are essentially dead. They never release them anymore. I would still love for them to release like 1 clash a month or once every 2 months. Like, it would be cool if they did a flip-flop where 1 month they release an arena, next they do a clash, and then like the month after that do a blitz battle. Like, just do, like, cycle it every 3 months. That would be cool as hell if they did something like that. But Clash, I actually do enjoy them when they were releasing, because they were always something to look forward to, and typically when they did release for the first time, the free-to-play units they bring alongside them are actually pretty good too, and they help you a lot in a lot of content. So I think Clash is pretty good, but they just don't do them anymore. And next is Training Forest, another game mode that just doesn't happen anymore. Honestly, I think that they were kind of similar to Grand Voyage, where they're very difficult endgame pieces of content, but the reward you get out of them being those ships, not all of them were very good, but some of those ships were really nice to have. And now they kind of they never release ships anymore. But when they do, you have to pay for them, 30 rainbow gems in order to get them. I would love for them to bring back Training Forest. I think I'd probably rank them about here. I definitely had more fun playing Clash and Kizuna Clash over Training Forests, but I get why they're here, and they definitely need to be in the game, but it's just unfortunate that we never get them anymore. Colosseum and Arena, I guess I'll kind of rank them together. I think that Colosseum is a better game mode than Arena because of the miniature fights that you would have before the final boss fight, and of course towards the end of Colosseum they did kind of scrap that, but I actually did like the fact that there was like these mini bosses that you had to deal with before you even got to the final boss. So I do think that Colosseum is probably one of the best game modes that they ever released, because it was basically an enhanced version of Clashes. And again, Colosseum units were some of the best free-to-play units that were out during this time period. Arenas, I think they're also very fun. I do think Colosseums are better. I think Colosseum's probably better than Pirate Rumble, honestly. It is just unfortunate that we just don't get them as often as we kind of need them, honestly, because they give us more free-to-play units to go ahead and max out. And maybe it's just they don't want to invest time into playing content that doesn't make them money. That's probably what their ideology is. But at the end of the day, we would love to see more of them. We have Blitz battles after this, and this is just a screen grab of the Ace and Sabo Blitz battle that we just had here on One Piece Treasure Cruise. Now, Blitz battles, they are actually okay in terms of the content, though I would say more recent Blitz battles, they're definitely more pay to win compared to, you know, the old style blitz battles. For those of you who used to play Treasure Cruise way back in like 2015, 2016 days, when we had blitz battles, they were not based off of point drops, right? Where every single drop you got had a point value assigned to it. The way that it worked is that you just had to get clears. Every time you cleared it, you got 1 point. And it was just a race to see who could clear it the fastest, most consistent over the extended period of time. And those were a little bit better because you didn't have to worry about using these point booster units. You could just run whatever you want as long as it was fast to clear the content, and especially with some of the speed farming units that we have now, I think that would be way more fun. But of course, they are just heavy pay to win. Just have the new badge and then go on your way. I do think the rewards from these are actually pretty decent though. And especially if you're able to rank really high in worldwide, global, alliance, etc., you can net yourself some pretty good rewards out of these. And also, you know, back in the day when we did have those blitz battles, you had to gem every time you refilled your stamina. With these, we now have the stamina meets, which means that you are netting a lot more positive gems than you would be losing in the old school blitz battles. So taking that all to account, I think that they're probably like a little worse than regular Kizuna. I do like Kizuna a lot. I like the way that it works, is the different types of bosses you have to take on. You have to build the different teams, or the one team versus all. If you're able to build those, are a lot of fun. Let's move on though. Next is the turtle farming events. These are just terrible, to be honest. I guess they're a little bit better than Grand Party because the rewards you get for them are decent and they're easily achievable, I would say. But I think the amount of effort that goes into these 10-star or 9-star, whatever it is, turtle farm events are just terrible. So really not a fan of the turtle farms. Next we have Garb challenges. Garb challenges are actually pretty fun. I'd say that they're definitely up there in terms of one of the most anticipated, you know, game modes that we got. The early Garb challenges were actually very difficult at the time, but then we got, you know, the new sets with the Heavenly Demon and the Revolutionary Army, Eneru, and then the Hody Jones one. All of those Garb challenges were a lot of fun. The real issue came with the fact that they didn't, like, reset them enough, or that we didn't get any new ones to freshen up the content. I would love it if they went back and, you know, we get like 2 folders worth of Garb challenges per month, but they just keep bringing out new ones every few months or so. Like maybe every 6 months, bring out like 1 or 2 new Garb challenges and just have a cycle going on every single month, because it gets people to log into the game and actually play content. Because outside of turtle farms, like the typical monthly content of turtle farms, treasure map, Kizuna, reset, outside of those, when those events are not active, people don't really have a lot to do. I guess you could argue they have their daily rumble, and if the championship series is on, yes, they can farm that. But like, there's just nothing to do. And if Garb challenge was there, outside of those main game modes that occur every single month, it would give us something to do. So I would love for Garb challenges to return with a bit of a rehaul. Obviously, that needs to happen. Now, next is treasure map. If I got asked this question maybe a year ago, I probably would have it near the bottom. Currently, I do think it's not as bad as what people say. The couple reasons for that is because the recent overhaul to only make the treasure map intrusion boss occur on secret bosses, yes, it is a bad thing in some aspects, but in a lot of other aspects, in terms of me as a player, I do prefer that. It allows me to get to higher nav levels much quicker, and also it means that it's a lot faster to reach each individual secret map. And when you reach the secret map, you get rainbow chests, which nets you the blue tickets, right? That's what I'm basing this off of, because more blue tickets equals either more limit break materials or more tablets, usually more limit break materials, which means that you can expand more characters, which means you have better characters in your character box. So I think that the rewards, the net positive rewards from treasure map, are incredibly high. If you're able to get like at least top 10%, which I know is not easy to do for everyone, but top 10% rewards are actually really good. That's what I always aim for, and it nets me some pretty good stuff. And of course, if you can play enough and get to those secret maps, the rewards you get from that are actually very, very good. Saying all this, I actually do want to put it up a little higher. I think it actually is super good. But obviously, there's a lot of big issues with treasure map. For the low-end players, for players that don't pull as much, people that don't have a lot of boosters, the boosted list typically sucks big time, 100%. I totally agree. And yes, all of these different pieces of feedback that I've talked about in this video have been conveyed to the right channels. And I want to stress that we have conveyed all of the issues and feedback regarding Treasure Map and any other game mode that you have been sent through to the team. It's up to them to do the dirty work, you know what I mean? But that's it, right? That's my current tier list in terms of the game modes in One Piece Treasure Cruise. I guess if I probably thought about it, I could maybe change some of these game modes up a little bit, but I would be interested to see what your guys' opinion are regarding the game modes in One Piece Treasure Cruise, because I think it'd be kind of divisive. I think it's just an interesting thing to bring up. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.